Okay, welcome everybody to Wall Street Reporter's Discovery Day live stream, where we bring you those stocks which have that multi-bagger upside potential. And today we're back with Dean Hanisch, the CEO of Stria Lithium, SRCAF over-the-counter SRA.V. Dean, welcome back to the program.
Thanks very much for having me, Jack.
Dean, it's really incredible what's happening with Stria right now, because this has got to be, I think one of the most compelling stocks in the lithium battery metal space right now. And investors are talking about it first, and at some point the market's going to catch up, because right now, the stock is trading at a $5 million valuation, approximately $5 million market cap, but there's almost $5 million in cash and equivalents, in marketable securities in the company. So basically you're getting the company for free, and there's the assets that you have, your project, the Pontax 1 lithium project in James Bay, Quebec, based on the comps, that should be worth 40-50 million plus. Everybody knows this. Everybody, this will be, people who are experts in mining. I'm not an expert in mining, but there's guys I see on social media, on forums, who know the mining space. They're looking at the comps, and they're saying, why is this thing not trading at 10 times higher? Why is the stock not trading at 40-50 million market cap? But then the story gets even better, and this is what we're going to be talking about today. Dean, this is why we brought you back on, is that not only do you have this project which should be worth making the stock potentially, again, it's a multi-bagger based on the resource. Okay, your partners developed this resource based on the Australian estimates, but you got this Pontax 2, which is potentially could be just as big, maybe even bigger than your existing project. So in theory, if I'm doing the math, again, I'm a little bit, I'm not the best at math, but if I'm doing the math, if that project in theory is worth 40 million based on comps, based on the resource, this thing should be, has a path to get there. So in theory, an investor looking at the stock is looking at something that's should be worth 100 million. It's trading at only 5 million. To me, that's a 20 bagger upside potential. You got a 20 bagger upside potential. And, at some point, the valuation gap has to close. This is what I call an asymmetric bet. It's incredible. This is, the 10 bagger blueprint in the book I wrote. That's a bestseller on Amazon about finding these 10 bagger stocks. This is the thing we look for. The one thing, and Dean, we were just talking about this before. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to shut up after this. So anybody watching, I'm going to shut up right after this. But Dean, just before we got on the call, you were talking about Warren Buffett. And what does Warren Buffett always look at? He looks for this type of situation. Early in his career, he was buying penny stocks, and his whole thing was he was buying stocks trading at deeply below cash value with blue sky potential, and just waiting. All you have to do is just wait till the valuation gap closes. That's how the guy made all his millions early on, and then he parlayed into that. Okay, Dean, I'm done. Let's get back to you. For anybody. And today we're going to talk about Pontax 2. That's going to be the highlight. We got some great video that we're going to be showing with the helicopters and all that. But for anybody that's brand new to the story, tell us about Stria's project in James Bay, Quebec. Which we're calling the Saudi Arabia of lithium. This is in North. This is an incredible place where you're at. Tell us what you have, what you've got, and what's next.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, for people who don't know the story, Stria had picked up a property in 2013 when it was difficult to get properties today, but back then it was quite easy. Great property. We call it Pontax Central. We've drilled. There's lithium there. We did a partnership with Cygnus Metals, who are an Australian ASX listed company on a strong exchange. That's one of the reasons we did it. Further to the point of our stock market lagging to theirs. They raised a lot of money and drilled it out. They came up with so far in under a year 10 million metric tons at 1.04%. That's done under York estimate, which is their version of our 43-101 that we use in Canada, and they will continue to drill it. So we have an estimate. We also have another project that we picked up that's pretty well the same size. And we're exploring that, and that's the feature of today. We're lucky enough to join the exploration team, myself and our CFO, who also happens to be a geologist as well. And we're able to get up there on the project to kind of see what we're looking for. It's still early stage for Pontax 2, but we were very excited to be there and look and follow up on the tantalum anomalies that we saw to see if is it a tantalum lithium deposit, is it a lithium tantalum deposit, what is it that we have? And yeah, I think as you said, we're very undervalued. We have 28 million shares outstanding, which is really very little in the market.
It's nothing. It's nothing. It's 20 cents Canadian. It's like, what is it, 15, 16 cents US. Again, $5 million valuation. 5 million, and this is the crazy thing. And again, you know, this is the type of opportunities that I think investors should look for. Now, I'm not giving any advice, not price representation, any of that. What we're saying is this: look, you got a stock that is deeply undervalued. I mean, all you got to do is just do the math. There's 2.5 million or so in cash, 2.5 million in securities that you have of Cygnus. You know, 5 million. The valuation of the company is 5 million, and you got so you're getting this $50 million project for nothing, and you're getting this other blues. This is like this, and you know, this is the crazy thing. Again, back to Warren Buffett. You know, this is, you know, it's kind of like people wonder, how does this guy, you know, get so rich? Well, the market always presents these opportunities. They're always out there, and they're always like kind of it's like $100 bill laying on the ground. And people are just, you know, they don't believe it. They're suspicious. They don't pick it up. It's like, you ever see these videos on YouTube? I saw a guy do a video. This is a guy. He puts a gold bar down on the street and leaves the gold, and it's there for me. Nobody's picking it up. Nobody's picking it up. It's like people don't believe it, right? Or people just don't believe it. But then some guy walks by, picks it up, right? And I saw this thing. And it's like, you know, 100 people walk by. One guy finally picks it up. It was a big gold bar. It was like, I think it was like a couple of ounce thing, but it was, you know, it's like people are blind to this. So, and the crazy thing is this: all of our stocks, again, we've had in the last couple of years, we've had, you know, 12 of these stocks that went up between 1,000 and 5,000%. In the years past, we've had many other stocks that went up. You know, we've had 100 bagger stocks. We had a company that went up from 50 cents to $200. Taser, right? Nobody believed it when they first started. That's the thing. Nobody believes it, and they're always cheap for a while, and then all of a sudden, people wake up. It's one of those things. So we're going to have some audience questions, but you know what I want to do is let's show some video of the new project, because this is interesting. And I'm going to put it on the screen, and maybe you can narrate, because the video, the audio, the sound quality wasn't great. There was a lot of noise. It was kind of like in the field. So let's see if we can get this up here. Hang on one second. Let me get this. Oh, wait. Let me wait. Here we go.
So we're here at the Relais Routier, where everybody stays, the rest stop 381. The guys are just getting ready to go on the helicopter to do some work on the Pontax 2.
We can see there's the rock that he's stepping out. Those are the outcroppings. That's kind of what we're looking for, to see those outcroppings, Jack.
What exactly are we doing here?
Right now we are sampling a cross-cutting pegmatites. So what we're going to try is to try to with that of it, to vectorize, and it's gonna help us to know if there's any source of pegmatites or not in the region, and to vectorize to the lithium if there is any.
So these are the pegmatites we're looking for, and we'll just continue. You can see they're all over the place, so we just have to keep looking at all of them and
we need to keep blocking.
Excellent. Thank you. So is this what we're looking for? Can you explain a little bit of why we stopped here?
Yeah, this is the kind of pegmatite that we're looking for, because this is the latest stage of pegmatites that we have here, that we can see. This is cross-cutting all the structures of this place.
Dean, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so just, you know, I don't know if people could hear the sound. What are we looking at right there? So first you had the helicopter flying overhead. We were what were you showing there? Those outcroppings?
Yeah, so I would say that like in the helicopter, you can see there's gray material down below, and that's basically the rocks, right? Those are the outcroppings and we're looking to see if those outcroppings are spodumene bearing pegmatites, which is what hosts lithium. So you can see there's a lot of outcroppings there, so there's a lot of ground to cover. And I think the first things that we're looking for initially is they're doing some mapping, doing some chip sampling in order to kind of understand the topology and what we have there, right? It's kind of their first phase. Secondly, you can see where the second gentleman is explaining that you see like a cross-cutting across the pegmatites, and that kind of indicates that that's the latest event. So that happened after everything else. They're generally the ones that are carrying what he says are the exotic minerals. So those are where you would find your tantalum, your lithium, your those type of minerals.
Okay, so in plain English, what does this guy do? What is he doing over there? What exactly?
So he's basically, it's visual. So you're looking to see any kind of cross-cutting like that. You could like they're running, say in a north-south, and then across east-west comes this kind of vein. And when they see that, they will chip sample out parts of that in order to go and analyze it back at the lab. So a lot of this is just lab work to understand. I mean, it's a large property. We're in James Bay in a, obviously in the best location for lithium, in North America. And there's a lot of pegmatites and there's a lot of outcropping. So it's just a lot of work to kind of try to figure out what you have, the mapping, to try to see like, are there any that are underground that we can't see, and get a better idea. I mean, there's no one set of geology here. There's projects that show that you have the lithium and tantalum were in the granite, and sometimes it's most often spodumene pegmatites, but we really have to see what we have there. So that's what we were doing there, is to get a good handle of it, because it's a large package.
By the way, we're going to get to audience questions. We got a couple of audience questions. We're going to get to those in just a minute. Really good questions coming in today. What we have on the screen, so this is the project, right? So what we're looking at, this area in the green, this area that at the top left with the red dots, that is Pontax 2.
Correct.
Okay, this is the new project. This is where you're at. It's a huge area. How many acres do you have there, or what is it? What's the size of this place?
It's like 5,000 something. It's a big. I mean, you can see how big it is. It's a lot of claims. So there were from 3 different claim holders. So yeah, it's definitely a large package and a lot of ground to cover.
And the one at the top right in the light green, that's Pontax 1, where you have Cygnus that did all the exploration. They developed this resource, with the Australian resource estimate. Now it's important. Can you also, Dean, address the fact that you are right by all the key infrastructure that you need? Because again, we always need to emphasize that you have a lot of people that talk about, oh, we got this, we got that, what a huge place, but it's in the middle of nowhere. And at the end of the day, it's all about economics. To make a mine work, you got to get, you got to have economics, right? You got to bring this stuff to a road. You got to get it. And you're in Quebec. So talk about that. If you can address
you can see the road kind of running down with that line heading down that looks kind of peach colored. Very important to be by the road, to have electricity. I mean, even the fact that we're able to stay at that Rella Ruche, which doesn't sound like much, but if you don't have anywhere for people to stay for accommodations, you just can't work, right? You have to set up a camp. It's expensive to operate and difficult. So we're very lucky that, basically in the winter, you could drive to work, you could say. And has the electricity and the road close by. So any minerals that you find, it's not a far distance to get it out to the road and then get it out to the rail system, so that it can be processed. I mean, at the end, it's like anything else. There's real value and costs associated. And I think the important thing for investors here is that, like, it's a very crowded space. So to earlier what you said, Jack, I mean, it's very difficult, even for myself. You're looking at, you believe in lithium, you see the governments behind it, you see the governments paying people to use North American minerals, they're going to be getting a subsidy. but there's so many different exploration and mineral companies, and everyone's popped out. But the important thing to look for is like, who has an estimate already? Who has already proven something? And so in our case, you know, we've devalued it somewhat through the success of Cygnus in producing an actual resource estimate. So it's there, and there's more. It's a large package. We have to do more work on it. And we have our own package as well, and we're well funded. So I think for investors, I mean, it's important to look in a crowded space at who actually has found lithium. And I think a lot of times I've seen some pretty slick websites without any drill holes. So yeah, we are undervalued, and it's a good time, I think, for people to take a look. We're trading at cash. So I'm not afraid to say that I think that our value isn't there, because I firmly believe it. We're getting almost nothing for the resource estimate that we have already. And then for the other package we have, and I'll even add that we also staked another 3 claims in the region, and we will continue to do so based on some proprietary technology that we're using with our basically geological consulting partner. And
I mean,
that's our goal.
It's incredible. I mean, you got a resource, which again, based on the comps, this thing. Well, you have like, the numbers. Can you go through the number? I mean, do you want to address the numbers? It's like 10 million metric. What's the number? You want to address that real quick, and people can do their own. They can go to the news release.
I mean, this is just from what you see in the market, you know. But again, these are ASX listed companies that are TSX and U.S. markets really haven't caught up with this yet, right? That investors have been lagging behind.
This is the arbitrage. This is the arbitrage.
Well, it's a massive arbitrage. I mean, I get calls from Australian investors all the time, and they don't understand it, why our value is less than companies that have less than us in Australia. But eventually it'll catch up. But the math is about 100, roughly was about 100 million market cap for every 10 million, you know, say, if you had 10 million metric tons, you have owned 50% of that. So if you look at companies, I mean, it's not that equal, but yeah, I mean, generally, definitely, depending on other companies you see in the region, and if you look them up at what they have, that's kind of the math, whether it's 90, 100. So, you know, you understand that we have, you know, 49% now of that first project, with, you know, continued drilling heading forward, and we're carried right through. I think it's definitely frustrating for us, but at the same time, a good opportunity for investors, because you're supposed to be buying low and selling high. So now
nobody does that. Yeah, they do the opposite. The crazy thing is this: you have this incredible arbitrage opportunity. It's right in front of everybody's nose. It's right in front of their face or in their eyes, right? And what's going to happen is, and this is what happens every time, Dean, I'm doing this for, you know, years. What happens every time is, you know, we're talking about it. We're talking about nothing is moving, and all of a sudden the stock explodes. And then once the stock is already up 1,000%, everybody comes out and says, "Well, how come you didn't tell me about it? Why? What is the next ground floor opportunity?" Well, we show them the next ground floor opportunity, and then again, people don't like to buy when things are, for whatever reason, they like to buy once it's already up. You know, it's just human.
I think that's a herd mentality, Jack. I mean, people don't like to go contrarian, but the contrarians are always there, right? I mean, it's like in a housing market, you see everybody coming in at the end and getting fleeced, but the people that were there earlier, you know, make the money. But I think, you know, outside of that, I do understand somewhat that it's a crowded space. Really got to look at what people have. But what I will tell you is that the Europeans, we're starting to see, and even overseas in Asia, I'm getting calls from them that are starting to, you know, inquire about the stock, because I think part of it is also understanding the needs. So we here in North America are very spoiled, right? We, you know, we're large countries, both the United States and Canada. We don't really have clear, visible problems of smog and what have you. I mean, we do in specific cases, maybe like LA or something. But, you know, what I'm seeing is that they understand that, yeah, this electrification is going to happen. The government's pushing it. The government's paying for it. You saw recently another group, Canada, you know, wooed another group over from Sweden, who are coming in to spend $4 or $5 billion. Volkswagen's here; they're spending $13 billion. All these battery companies are here, and they have to purchase North American minerals like lithium, critical minerals, in order to get a lot of these other subsidies. So, you know, usually when the government's on both sides, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
Let's get to some audience questions here. Pioneering Markets asking, any recent communication or plans with your neighbors? Now, what's interesting is you are, let me just pop this up on the screen, is you are basically in this area. Your project is surrounded by all these majors, these multi-billion-dollar lithium companies are all around surrounding you, right? So this is what this guy's asking. You know, what's...
Yeah, I would say, I mean, we obviously we have discussions with Cygnus and what have you, but it looks like when I was up there, it looked like I saw some drills moving. I wasn't sure what property. So to answer your question, it's a hot area and everybody's drilling. And then the other companies that we did talk to that are close by, they're not interested in making any deals. They want the property for themselves and they want to drill it themselves. So I think you're going to see a lot of action in the Pontax region itself. And it seems like everybody's pretty bullish on it because nobody's really looking to make any more deals.
Next question is estimated timeline on test sample results. When could we see some news coming out on that?
Yeah, so, you know, everything went in. They probably finished at the end of September. So I don't have an exact date on what the timeline delay is for the samples, but we're hoping to, you know, hopefully to get some information back on some of them within the next couple of weeks or month. I would be remiss to tell you I know exactly, but definitely this fall we're hoping to have some answers so that we can continue work on Pontax 2 and understand like what type of project we have and what the next steps are.
Yeah, it's interesting that I mean, there were some delays with, first of all, you had the fires, the forest fires. You couldn't get the helicopter. I know all the assay labs are backed up. So there's been a bunch of headwinds. But you know, you got the samples, and we should have this news flow coming in. Next question is asking is any insider buying? Now, there's actually, can you address this question?
Yeah, so if you look back over the last quarter, you'll see that there's been insider buying from both myself. You'll see the chairman's been buying. I mean, it's not really for us. You know, we practice what we preach, right? When we're sitting there with a project, with an estimate and another project, and all types of land position, and we're basically trading at cash. It's not the hardest decision to make. So, yeah, you can look at the CDAR and what have you and see the insider buying.
I guess this is last question. Maybe we can wrap up on this because okay. So what kind of news flow? What kind of catalysts are there? Potential catalysts are there in the stock coming up into, you know, basically into the end of the year, into December?
Yeah, I would say hopefully we're going to have some more information back on Pontax 2, which we're excited about, obviously, from those chip samples, you know, some of the mapping and what have you. I think that would be the first things that we'll put through. I mean, if there's any deal flow that we do with anyone else, existing partners or new partners, that you know, obviously we're continually working. We also want to get out on some of the other staked claims that we have and do some work there as well. So, you know, I can't say specifically everything, but yeah, we're working on a few things as we speak. And I mean, you can kind of look at our previous track flow and what we've done, and we're kind of looking to do the same. So we have to, you know, spend time on our projects, prove them up, and then move them forward. So yeah, I think you'll see some information on Pontax 2 and potentially some of the other projects we'll hopefully get out and do some work on before the snow flies.
Yeah, no. So it's you know, on that note, I think it's important again for investors to know that, I mean, like you've partnered with, you know, serious players, right? The first deal, the first Pontax 1, the Cygnus guys. I mean, they, you know, put in, what is it, $5 million plus into this. You know, they have tremendous experience in the field. So you found the right partners. You know, you've done the right deals. You're in the right place. I mean, like everything is. It's like all the stars are aligned. I mean, like you can check off all the boxes. If anybody was looking for a lithium play, it's like check off all. And to me, the best one is, again, you're getting in basically for free. It's like you're getting this whole thing for basically for free. I mean, literally, you're getting it for free because you're paying $5 million for the whole company. There's $5 million in cash, and you're getting these projects, which potentially, $100 million plus in value for nothing. I mean, it's like crazy. It's the market. It's one of these crazy opportunities that, comes along. And this is the whole Warren Buffett philosophy, because he says, look, you got to be very, very patient. You just got to wait for those opportunities to come to you. You got to wait for that perfect pitch. You don't need to chase after every stock. You can, you can make one buy every 2 years. I mean, this guy, he's patient. He's constantly filtering. And this is the same thing. This is like people, it's right in front of their face. It's kind of like that gold bar lying on the sidewalk, and people are just walking by. They're walking by. It's kind of like they don't, again, because the thing is, there's so much noise in the market. Everybody's talking about battery metals, lithium, this, that. There's a million of these guys, a million promotions going on, and this is the opportunity. So, incredible. Let's see. Okay, a question here. Showing 50 cents on the OTC. Stria traded 50 cents at one point.
Yeah, I mean, we did trade at 50 cents. And then obviously we had some major sellers selling it down. It was basically out of our control. But I think that there's sometimes the OTC will pop up or between the different ones, and it'll come back and kind of regulate itself between the TSX and the OTC. So that's kind of where it's trading now. But I think if you look at some of the other, the Frankfurt and what have you, those are trading lower. So it'll go. So, I mean, listen, I think I understand the investors, and I would just say that, there are a lot of opportunities in the market, Jack. And it's not just us. I think our stock exchange has fallen behind, and I think it's going to just, catch on, and it's going to catch wind eventually.
I think this guy was just saying that I just looked at this. The OTC shares are trading at 50 because it was very thin. So I mean, like, I don't know. There's like 100. It's really, I don't understand why this thing has not caught on yet. I mean, at some point, it's like you don't know. Some of these stocks, you could be banging your head against the wall. You don't know what is it. All of a sudden, the stars align and it takes off. I don't know. It's crazy. All right, Dean. On that note, so we got news flow coming up. There's a lot of things to watch for. Stock is, again, deeply undervalued. I think anybody should just take a look at this, compare this to the other stuff that's out there, and just do the math. I mean, you're getting this for $5 million. The others are much, much higher. You got deep built-in value. You got this kind of, I call it the built-in profit. I mean, you got potentially $100 million in potential value creation there, which part of it is already a resource by ASX standards. The other part is blue sky, which we can extrapolate, could be as big. Again, that's, maybe you can't extrapolate, but let's say if you can. So it could be 100 million, could be bigger, could be less, but it's in the same region. So there's got to be something, and you're surrounded by all these multi-billion-dollar players. So like Patriot, all these other guys. So really incredible setup. Dean, great to have you on. Looking forward to hearing more news from Stria in the coming weeks.
Great. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, and thank you everybody for joining us. We will see you all on the next one.
Thanks again.